Welcome back, everybody. Now we'll be moving on to the final session of the day entitled Premier Digital Tech Institution Leadership Panel, Lifelong Learning via Postgraduate Programs. Moderating this session will be we will welcome back the main woman of the week, Dr. Sumitra Nair, the Vice President, Digital Skills and Job for the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, MDEC. Dr. Sumitra leads MDEC's digital talent development and inclusion initiatives and also serves as an adjunct faculty at the Monash University School of Business and Economics. Over to you, Dr. Sumitra.
Thank you, Asrul. Thank you, and welcome back to all those who are on the call today. So this afternoon it's the last session of the day, and we have a very, very exciting session and topic for all of you, especially those of you who have been mulling about, should you do a postgraduate program or not, or, and all those different terminologies that you're hearing in the market today. And of course, today, in a fast evolving job market, we all know that lifelong learning is critical. And we also know that there are so many different ways that you can actually pursue this lifelong learning, right? So you can do online courses like on Coursera or LinkedIn or wherever. You can take instructor-led courses by training providers, or you can pursue postgraduate programs. And so this afternoon, we're going to focus on postgraduate programs. And to share with you today, their rich perspectives and, how they themselves are reinventing and reshaping their postgraduate programs in keeping with today's times and requirements. We have a lineup of highly esteemed panelists. In fact, they're all professors. And, we were just joking earlier that, when you have a room full of professors, you can't just say prof, you have to call their name. So we have a highly esteemed panel today who are all professors, who are all leaders from the premier digital tech institutions. And they will be sharing their perspectives with us. Now, you may be wondering, some of you, especially if you're joining us from outside the country, you may be wondering, what are these premier digital tech institutions, or what we refer to in short as PDTIs. So before we go into the panel, I would like to just request your indulgence for me to just share a little bit, a sneak preview about these premier digital tech. So Mike, if you don't mind, can you just pull up those slides for us, please? Okay, so these are basically the premier digital tech universities that are at the moment 11 universities and 5 polytechnics. And these are all institutions which MDEC has assessed along with industry. And we have recognized and accredited them for having highly industry relevant digital tech and computer science courses. And we work closely. So next slide, please. We work closely with these universities to facilitate industry collaboration on various fronts. So we work to upskill and train, the lecturers, to establish centers of excellence. We do various things to look at how can we strengthen and continue to maintain the industry readiness of the graduates. And so to date, these universities have collectively impacted more than 30,000 graduates since the inception in 2017. Of course, many of them have been around for much longer than that, but the PDTI program is something we started in 2017. Now, on average, these PDTIs have consistently achieved an average graduate employability rate of 95%, which is really, really high. In fact, it's almost full employment because the remaining 5% usually decide to further their studies, or take a break or whatnot. So consistently 95%, except last year we had a very small decrease because of COVID-19. But otherwise, it's been very, very high. And this, of course, wouldn't be possible with the visionary leadership of each of these institutions, which is why today we have invited the senior leadership of 5 of our premier digital tech institutions to join us in this session. And of course, we would love to bring you all 16, but that's not practical. And so we're so glad and so happy that the 5 that we have here today could join us to represent the remaining 16. And I'm sure they're going to have nuggets of wisdom to share with us. So I'd like to just introduce the panel that we have, kicking off, of course, with Yang Bahagia Prof. Dato Mazliham, Dato Dr. Mazliham, who is the President and Chief Executive Officer of MMU, Multimedia University. Thank you so much, Prof, for making time this afternoon with us. We also have Prof. Khong who is the Executive Dean at the Faculty of Business and Law at Taylor's University. We have Prof. Lau Sian Lun, who is the Associate Dean of the School of Engineering and Technology at Sunway University. And last but not least, from my alma mater, Prof. Abrizah Abdullah, who is a professor of the Department of Library and Information Science at the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences in University of Malaya. And of course, last but not least, I forgot that we have one more panelist, Prof. TS Dr. Murali Raman, who is the Director of the Postgraduate and Continuing Education in Asia Pacific University, APU. So there we go. We have 5 of them. And thank you all so much for taking time of your really busy schedules to be here with us today, Dato, as well as all the fellow panelists. So just kicking off, yeah. So topic today is about lifelong learning, and all of you are at the forefront of leading the way as PDTIs. Now, I'd like to just, ask all of you, and you can, maybe we can start off with Prof. Dato Mazliham. What trends are you seeing in the postgraduate space? In terms of the types of students, getting the profile of the students, the types of popular courses that people are looking for, and also, is there a growing interest? We've all been hearing about fourth IR and so on. Is there a growing interest for these fourth IR related type of courses like data science, AI, fintech, and so on and so forth? Maybe we start with Prof. Dato Mazliham, and then we can, refer to the rest of the panelists.
Thank you, Dr. Sumi. As I observe now in MMU, you know that during this pandemic, it is quite difficult for us to do the marketing. It's all online, and we really have to use all our capability and ability in the social media and so on to do our marketing. But anyway, the application to our postgraduate program is actually 41% higher than last year. So this shows that during this pandemic, we can see that maybe some of the students prefer to further their study, and then we can see the increase of 41% of applications. And until this Q2 this year, we have actually reached 8 than full year intake. So the intake has been increased. We have not finished intake, but until now, until this July intake, we actually managed to increase the intake by 8% compared to the full last year. The cost, since a few years ago, we can see the uptrend in the marketing and some soft skills programs, and this now can be observed at the postgraduate programs. We do have an increase of applications and enrollment in our communication, creative multimedia, and management programs, and there is no significant increment in the IT and computer science. But I guess because the numbers are there, our IT and computer science programs are among the highest intake in MMU, and but we do observe some decrease in the demand in the engineering programs. Because I think maybe people prefer to do IT or some computer related programs than doing the hard the traditional engineering courses. This is what we have now in MMU, and I think the current pandemic actually changed the way how students opt for their future career, or some of them now prefer to further their study.
Thank you for that, Prof. So it's interesting to see that the numbers are still growing, yeah, despite not being able to go on the ground and to market as much, right? And it's also interesting that not as many are looking at computer science or, as a postgraduate, but maybe it's also because, they're so busy making tons of money. The demand for that kind of talent is so high that they don't have time to, go and do postgrad. But Prof Khong, what are you seeing, from, sorry, Prof, you were going to say something, Prof. Dato Mazliham?
I think the concept now here is that we are in this era of digital. So we are living with this digital tech anyway. So people are living with it. So those people, those students who are enrolling in our management or in creative multimedia will end up using all these technical things in digital. So this is now.
Yeah, that's probably one of the reasons. So, Prof. Khong, what are you seeing from Taylor's point of view? What's the trend you're observing?
We see a large base of students coming for postgraduate, especially in the MBA program, because I'm in the Faculty of Business and Law, so I have a close look at how the program in businesses looks like. In fact, the numbers are pretty substantial. We're talking about double-digit growth in terms of percentage. But there's another interesting thing that we are seeing here is the rise in the interest in healthcare postgraduate. I have a law program, which is the LLM in healthcare. We see a lot of interest, especially from a medical practitioner standpoint, being able to learn and upskill their knowledge, not in the context of medical, because they already are skilled medical healthcare people, but knowing in a different perspective other than medicine, but venturing into law and even entrepreneurship as well. Because I was reading one article and a report by McKinsey recently, and we find that the workforce by 2030 would change dramatically, especially on the manufacturing, services and governance. As we go into the IR 4.0, we'll see the jobs that are repetitive in nature, and those jobs that do not require higher cognitive skills will be replaced. And one of the worrying things about the report, it says that in Malaysia, 50% of the workforce are repetitive tasks and activities. So we're probably seeing 25% of these people being obsolete when we reach 2030. But fear not, there will be a rise in other kind of fields because the emergence of fintech, digital marketing, cloud computing, robotics, AI, these are the new scope of skills that will be in great demand. And at the end of the day, we are seeing by 2030, there will be still a net demand in labor. And we see students are now realizing it. I know the workforce is realizing it. That's why they're going into postgraduate thinking that, hey, I gotta upskill myself, because if I'm doing repetitive work, and this repetitive work is not just in manufacturing, it could be in law, legal firms, because now we've got all these legal tech AI that can do similar jobs. In fear that their jobs are being replaced, they're constantly, or they need to constantly upskill themselves so that they can venture into areas that technology cannot replace them. Because when we talk about IR 5.0, it is about the ability of the workforce adapting to the rise of technology.
It's really interesting. So it's almost like a breaking down of the different disciplines, like, in the past, when you think about studies, right, university studies, it's always kind of like boxed up. I remember when I wanted to, at one point I wanted to do my master's in environmental science. And it was University Malaya actually, and they said, no, you can't because you're not from the Faculty of Science. But I think today, it's sort of breaking down these silos in between disciplines, right? As you said, medical practitioners going in for, to study law and so on. Prof. Murali, what are you seeing as, from APU's point of view? What are the trends you're observing? Is it consistent with where Prof. Dato Mazliham and Prof. Khong, are coming from?
Sumi, exactly similar trends. We're looking at what Dato shared as well as Prof. Khong. Similar trends as well. And I think this is also in line with the World Economic Forum's data, which says that by 2025, 85 million jobs will be displaced. Interestingly for us, we are witnessing more students from a non-tech background pursuing tech sort of programs. I just want to share an example of a conversation that I had with a nurse 2 weeks ago in our virtual open day. This is a nurse who's been doing nursing, and she quit nursing to join an insurance company. So when I asked why, she said better job prospects, right? Also with the pandemic and so on. So a career shift that she consciously made. And then she said when she's with the insurance buddy, she said they're all talking about data analytics. So there she was asking me, would APU kind of take her in to do a master's in data analytics? I said, yeah, I mean, and she was a bit worried that she doesn't have the background. But we said, fine, we have different sort of ways to coach and counsel before you come on board to the main program. So again, yeah, we are witnessing tremendous amount of shift. In terms of there's an increase in terms of people doing PG programs, so the demand for PG programs, both for business as well as tech, increasingly more for tech, and also from the tech portion as well. If you look at it, break it down in terms of their profile, we're looking at early mid-career shifts, people coming in, gender equally balanced, and also in terms of those from non-tech background, non-business background pursuing tech programs. So I think that's something that we really happy with. And also with the pandemic, another profile that's increasing for us is the local students who are coming in, because with travel restrictions and so on. So we're seeing that also moving in that space. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. And also most of the time they are asking for even the traditional MBA, so the DBA, which we're about to launch in 2 weeks, to what extent are they infused with tech domains or tech subject matters? So our response is, yeah, we are doing that continuously, improving even for business programs. There has to be a close alignment with what's happening on the tech side. So yeah, positive trends overall, to echo Dato Mazliham as well as Prof. Khong.
That's great. And what's interesting is the lack of having a tech background is no longer seen as a barrier for you to actually pursue tech, right? Especially because increasingly these roles are becoming very hybrid, right? Prof. Abrizah, what are you seeing, from a University Malaya point of view as a public university? Are you seeing some of these trends as well? And also, are you also starting to see, like how has it impacted foreign students, right? Are they still joining you like remotely, or, what's the situation there?
Thank you, Sumi. Okay, sharing from University of Malaya. All right, being a research comprehensive university, this university has a course offering of 156 postgraduate program, okay, including the PhD program. All right, and we have been seeing a slight increase, okay, because we have been offering to many students. We have been seeing a slight increase in terms of intake for the past 3 semesters, meaning that during the pandemic, people are still coming. Perhaps people are still feeling that this is the right time for them to pursue their education, giving the convenience of online instruction. Okay, so what is actually somehow caught my interest and also surprise is the fact that we are getting more students from China. Yeah, more students from China. Okay, given let's say the intake of about 3,000 PhD students last semester, we had about 21% coming from China, 66% are our locals, and the rest coming from various 46 countries. Yeah. So somehow this has actually, aligned with the comments made in Times Higher Education, saying that China is expected China is expected to go to Southeast Asia, and the next major growth hub, especially for this particular people from China and also from Taiwan and Hong Kong, because we are actually offering a traditional English-speaking programs for them, meaning that they are coming here because of this, because of English, and also. Given the fact that nowadays, during the pandemic, the situation of collaboration between China and also USA in terms of research has somehow deterred or perhaps put a stop to some of the research activities by Chinese students in the in the US and also in China. So these students, they are coming out, okay, to get a place for example, to continue pursue their PhD, especially for PhD. So to what extent this is truth, we need more data to support that. But somehow this is something that is going on. Okay, we have been getting a lot of many Chinese students, okay, from various parts of China. So in terms of popularity, okay, Sumi and my colleagues, we can see the top 10 most popular program, PhD program from the master by coursework is related to the hard social sciences. Hard social sciences meaning that the most popular is of course MBA, economics, applied statistics, but data science, because we offer master of data science. That's why I believe that if, okay, PDTA Institute offer more IR 4.0 related courses, programs, definitely this will attract more, because at present in UM, a dedicated standalone IR 4.0 program is only Master of Data Science. Meaning that AI, they are all infused in various programs, Internet of Things, they are all infused in various programs. So with this in mind, realizing that Master of Data Science have been attracting a lot of a lot of students coming, not only from the sciences, but also from the social sciences. The university have offering, okay, we are going to offer this, but I'm not sure when it's going to be possible, because offering, one thing about us is that offering a new program takes time. Yeah, sometimes it can take 2 years, okay, for that to be endorsed by MQA, by JPT. So we are going to offer Master of Artificial Intelligence, Master of Cybersecurity, and currently the MBA program is also having a component where the student can actually opt for graduating MBA and also Master of Science, specializing in FinTech. So this is what I see, something that is, you know, hopefully this is not happening now, but we are going towards that. We are going towards that because we see that there is potential for us to get more students coming in, learning and upskilling to the various hard social sciences. Social sciences, yes.
That's great. I mean, you know, so those who are on the call, if you're looking at deepening in cybersecurity, AI, already the universities are thinking about, you know, postgrad programs specializing in those new emerging tech.
Yes.
So Prof. Lau, over to you. Are you, you know, is it the same? Or is there anything different that you're experiencing from Sunway's point of view?
Thanks, Sumi. I think the trend is consistent across. I think MBA is still one of the top choice. Even some fresh grad has already started asking, but we tell them you should go and work and get some experience, because MBA will require some understanding of the whole business and the industry. But I think it's probably a culture here that everyone think I want to climb up the ladder, and therefore having an MBA helps me to move up the ladder. The other trend we see is the interest, including our own PDTI programs, that students are looking into more in-depth upskilling. So you can see students are looking for cybersecurity, data science, analytics, AI. I think these are the trends. That's why it's good that PDTIs, you know, all over Malaysia, we are gearing towards that. Either we have them or we're preparing them. And something that we think is important, I think some of our panelists here has mentioned, and we have that in our upcoming MBA. Few new ideas due to the pandemic. We think it's timely to offer it that way, is to allow people to learn online, because people are more used to it and they want the flexibility. Secondly, we see that the traditional degrees are probably something people do not want. That's why even in our new MBA that we launched this year, and also next year, we will launch the Masters of Data Science, both online available. You can see we infuse subjects, not just the conventional MBA, but also things like managing technology and innovation, things that allow them to learn some electives in data analytics and so on. Because we can say the current environment, people are spoiled with choices, but time is limited. So therefore, offering a good, solid masters that allow you to not only learn a certain domain, but also add on with very important digital skills. I think that will be a variant we believe not only is good for them to learn, but this is what the industry want, and therefore they can now learn them, go back and continue to contribute. I think one final point I observe is many of these students are picking up postgraduate, or even, as you said, the micro-credential short courses, right? They are available online, many of them. It's because they are getting ready for the post-pandemic time. I think this is, again, a situation all of us are watching, but I think the companies that are highly tech-enabled are the one managing, right, the whole situation better. And I think the need will continue to increase. More companies are being transformed. We notice that. And that's why many people know, if I do not pick up during this time, when pandemic is over soon, we all hope, how can they be ready? How can they really continue to push it higher? I think that's the message and the challenge I think we are all having, but we are happy to pick it up and try to bring it, make it available for, you know, our country and also for the industry.
That's great. Thank you so much, Prof. And you touched on what I was going to ask next, which is how you have actually pivoted already, the programs that you have, short term, bite size. They can go, they can come back, they can do it online. And this is the question that I'd also like to pose to the rest of the panelists. Dato Mazliham, we spoke about this much earlier, in the waiting room earlier, about the interesting thing that the GLC universities are doing, right? So how have you pivoted your programs to meet the needs of today's environment, especially your postgraduate programs? And what are you doing with regards to your flexible curriculum? Perhaps you can share a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. We have to say thank you also to COVID, because COVID-19 actually pushed us to some extent in how we deliver our teaching and learning. And as we were established as the Multimedia University, we already developed this platform 20 years ago. We have like a platform called MMLS that was used before. Now with this pandemic, it's only pushed us to really focus on all this digital platform, and we sort of redefine our flexible education platform. We have started to offer at least 3 new postgraduate program fully online. We have now the Executive Masters of Business full online, Masters of Digital Learning, and Masters of Computer Science and Software Engineering. These are all now 100% online using our multimedia learning system, MMLS, and other support platform. All instruction in this 3 programs are all online. There is no face-to-face or physical classroom needed. And this is especially for those who are currently working and would like to pursue their study. I think it suits the way of life of these students that are doing they are still working and would like to pursue their study while working. And beside that, we also started to offer the micro-credential. Now we combine this with APEL. We have APEL A and APEL C, where we give accreditation to the prior working experience that can be used as the access to the programs or given some credit transfer, APEL A and APEL C. And the micro-credential, now we have a program for those who would like to register. We have the Masters of Business Administration program that is now conducted micro-credential. And in October, we are going to offer other programs, which are we have another 3 programs in October: Masters of Engineering in Telecommunication, Masters of Engineering in Microelectronics, and Masters of Computer Science in Software Engineering, that will be also available credential. Now then, these are among the things that we are doing here in MMU. And beside that, with the GLU, we actually offer this sort of mobility program where students can take the modules from different universities, and at the end of the day will get their masters so that they can enjoy the experience of learning in different side of different members of GLU.
That's really interesting, Prof, especially the mobility program, because it means that, you know, you get to choose the universities that have specialization or focus, particular focus in an area, right? So like MMU, you're strong in the tech side. UTP may have a different focus on chemical engineering, for example. And so it's interesting that you can combine. So I'm gonna switch tack a little bit. Just move on to questions that perhaps may be of interest to some of the people who are on the call today as well. And so, Prof. Murali, if you can just share, you know, based on your experience, right, when do you think is the best time to pursue postgraduate courses? I mean, is it better to, you know, go for it like right after you graduate, continue on, or maybe after a few years of working? You know, sometimes they say it's best, or maybe even as a mid-career professional. What do you think?
Thanks for the question, Dr. Sumitra. So actually, I like 7-Eleven's tagline, anytime is a good time at 7-Eleven. If you remember that sort of advert in those days, yeah. So I guess fundamentally at the personal level, it really depends on the individual. When do we actually want to start? So, I mean, we talk about the growth mindset now, right? So having that mindset to sort of say, how am I going to start this? When it's not just important of starting a program, it's also finishing it. Yeah, I think that's very important. We also have people who start, you know, they say hangat tai ayam, that's only proverb, and then they don't finish. Because remember, there will be many challenges that actually come, but it doesn't matter. We can always start. So I like to group them into 3 categories, yeah, if I may. The first one, you can actually start. These are people who look at it from an academic pathway. So they say, I finished my bachelor's, I start out with my diploma, I move on to bachelor's, continue with master's, pursue my PhD, and then I get and become a happy professor one day. So that's one part. So that's one group of people. So they start immediately, one after the other, as in a traditional mode. Yeah. So other, you find group 2, they will probably pursue PG programs early to mid-career transition. So even in my own case, started off 8 years in the corporate sector with Maybank, Accenture, and then life becomes stressful, and you lose hair, and then you don't spend quality time with family. You begin a big question, what do I do? Then you pursue an academic path, right? So you find some transition. So they pursue PhDs and so on, even PG programs, early to mid-career transition. So that's another group. And some also look at this, I call them the third group. These are the growth mindset group. They try and keep themselves abreast with changes. They take on challenges, leadership positions. And just like yourself, Dr. Sumitra, right? I think you made a mid-career decision to sort of say, yeah, I want to go and do my PhD. Yeah, because you probably, maybe you felt that this can actually add value into your career. So really, it really depends on the individual. And I've broken them down into 3 categories. But fundamentally, for the audience out there, we really have to ask 3 important questions, right? Number 1, why am I doing this? How will it help me in my career or my passion? Yeah. So question 2, and third one, do I have a growth mindset to complete this program? Because despite challenges, despite negative talk by people, oh, why are you doing this now? PhD doesn't work for you, that sort of stuff. So how do we overcome those challenges? I think it's very, very important. So meditate on these 3 questions. Why am I doing this? What's my aspiration? And how is this going to help me to get there? I think it's absolutely important, yeah. But trust me, with a mindset that I can get this done, and as Dato, Khong, Prof, also Prof from mentioned, there are ample opportunities these days to pursue the PG pathway. So anytime is a good time. It really depends on what we hope to achieve as individuals at the end of the day. Yeah.
Thank you, for that. So it's very clear. Anytime is a good time, right? So almost sounds like a, as you say, advertisement for 7-Eleven or, a dessert or something, right? But Prof. Khong, so if you say anytime is a good time, and let's say you decide to do it like, mid-career or after you've started working, based on Taylor's experience, because I know you all engage with industry as well a lot. In today's job market, Are the industries really valuing postgraduate qualifications versus work experience? 20 years ago, I used to hear that when you get your master's, you get an increase. I got a PhD, I didn't get an increase. so I don't know, is it even valued by industries today? What are you seeing? What are you hearing from your industry partners?
Yeah, it is really difficult to compare working experience and postgraduate, because we cannot deny the value of a work experience. If you're a 20-year experienced teacher, you cannot replace that with a PhD or a master's or something. But if you look at the current situation, an analogy, a good one, which is the pandemic that happened in 2020, we were certainly, everybody is at level playing field, because all of a sudden we have to teach 100% online, completely online. So we asked the professors, hey, your teaching scores are really good, face-to-face teaching MBA, and all of a sudden you have to do it completely online. And if I compare a professor with a lecturer, they have the same skill sets, because that's what the pandemic created. So everybody now has to start from scratch and go through the training that was necessary to bring them up to speed. Now that's one example. The other one that I wanted to talk about is the value of education. You cannot deny the fact that education is a very important part of our career. If you talk about the PhD that I got early 2000, that's 20 years ago. The type of research that we do back then and the type of research that we do right now, we use completely different technique, and even the topics are different. So the question that I would probably answer and give impart some of my advice to the audience here is that really depends on how far you are in your career. If you are already 20 years in your career, and if your job is really repetitive, you're doing the same thing over and over, and there is no room for you to upskill or reskill yourself, that's the time that you have to think about whether a postgraduate is important. Because employers, when they look at you, all of a sudden they say that I want to talk about go-to-market digital marketing strategy. I want to talk about search engine optimization. If you are a traditional marketeer that who doesn't have this kind of skill set, then you'll be in trouble. So we can probably get someone out there with this, these skill sets, and probably with fewer years of experience, but can still do the job. So very difficult to compare, and very difficult to say which one is of more value. It really depends on the industry and how far you are in the industry. Of course, for fresh graduates, if you just recently graduated in hospitality or maybe in law, and then if you find it difficult to find a job because you're competing with a very small size in the job market now, maybe to upskill yourself with microcredits or even postgraduate in data science or even AI can help you. So yeah, it's difficult, Dr. Sumitra, to say that, but everything really depends on the situation and the circumstance.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think you had a very interesting point in that, if you're doing a repetitive task, right, and you all spoke about the future of jobs report and so on. So if you're doing a repetitive job, a job that is on the verge of being reinvented, right? And you start to already see certain changes or the adoption of tech, that's probably a good time to start thinking about going into a postgraduate program. So thanks for that. Prof. Abrizah, anything to add to that? Where do you see this? Is it which one, right? Postgraduate or work experience, if I had to choose?
Okay, thank you, Sumi. Sumi, ideally, this is the ideal thing. Yeah? Industries, definitely, they will say they value the work experience. Okay, you have a fresh graduate with 3 years experience, all right, and then you have a fresh graduate with a master's degree. So definitely, they will choose the former. This is the reality. We have to accept this reality. But then again, in relation to this, if you feel, I feel that there is a value actually in a postgraduate traditional postgraduate qualification, meaning that you get a dedicated program, you get the knowledge, skills from this dedicated program, because in the end, the outcome is different. The outcome, learning outcome coming from micro-credentials, coming from certificates program is very different from coming from the traditional academic program. This one we academics have to acknowledge this, because coming from this master's, postgraduate, and especially PhD program, a graduate will come out with having things that actually can benefit them in their life later on. Okay, it is not just the skills. It is not just the skills, but there is knowledge and also mindset. Okay, mindset is now very, very important, and industries they are actually valuing, okay, this mindset as having workers who are agile, who are flexible, and these are actually coming, okay, from engaging in a traditional academic program. Because when you are in an academic program like this, you will not be only interacting with your lecturer, okay, with the lecturers network, with also your cohort, your batch, and some of these, for example, if you sit in an MBA class, this can be, you know, future CEOs, right? Okay, so I would say that there is a value actually in having in a postgraduate qualification, because you know, it affects all parts of your life, your intellectual, your social ethics as well. Okay, and these are all being incorporated through the various 8 soft skills that are, and also the future-proof skills nowadays being advocated by Jabatan Pengajian Tinggi, MOHI. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you for that. Yeah, so that's a really interesting point, the networking, right? It's not just the skills and knowledge. And, you know, I can attest to this. Like, I did my PhD while I was working, and yeah, at some point I was asking myself, like, why am I doing this again? But then having done it now, I actually, you start asking, right? Especially when you're like doing a full-time job. But what I realize now is that it actually gave me certain skills that I didn't have. Like if you think about research skills, if you think about the rigor behind research or how you structure your thoughts, PhD did help a lot with that. And you're right, the networking is great too. Prof. Lau, question for you. And this is a question from the audience, yeah, because we've started to get quite a few questions. And this kind of relates back, I think, to your EMBA, right? So what are the apparent challenges? The question is, what are the apparent challenges in turning conventional classroom into online blended learning?
Yeah, I think very good question. The main challenge is we cannot treat it like an online course. I think whenever it's an online degree, people tend to think like a synchronous, fully independent courses that students do with very minimal interaction. I think that's one thing we definitely have to tell our students. I think most of us, if not all, when we offer an online course, it's not this kind of asynchronous program. Therefore, when we run this, maybe the lecture, those one-to-many kind of knowledge delivery, that can still be online video, self-paced. But as soon as it comes to discussion, when it comes to the in-depth discussion, learning of how to apply them, that has to be done in small groups. So for example, our online courses, we have planned in a way that the main key is to create all these small groups, right? And allow them to interact. The tutors, the lecturers will make sure students actually achieve the mini milestones leading to completion of a class. And we try to make it very focused. I think from the whole past year, we also noticed that we are in a way forced to go into fully online. And from feedback from students, what they miss is really the interaction. And that's why through even our online teaching and learning for the past more than 12 months now, we make sure there are definitely avenues that we can run clinics, workshops. You know, we spend more time, you know, telling students where are trouble. Like online, we do a lot of screen sharing. Now everyone know how to share screen. It's because that's how you get to interact, pick up problems, and technology becomes an enabler, not replacement of teachers. I think this shift has to be very clear so that online is just the medium change, but learning is still from human to human. It's a lot of the lecturers moving in front of people and people follow, and later students take over and we learn from each other. I think that thing will stay. And that brings value to what we offer at university, yeah, as online education.
Thanks, Prof. So I think what you're saying is the engagement, that could be a challenge, right? To make it as engaging and interactive as possible. And so universities need to think about all the different tools that you can use, and the methods and the creativity comes in to make it as interactive as possible. So I have a question, Prof. Mazliham, that I have, but also is related to a question from the audience. Yeah. So we're hearing a lot about micro credentials, and people are talking about like there's this whole rise of micro credentials, right? Can you share with us, like from a consumer's point of view, right? What's the difference between like your master's, PhD, and micro credentials from a consumer point of view? And how does one choose, right, between this? And also a related question that I have from the audience is there any age limit to enroll in micro-credential programs at MMU? So one is, what is the difference between micro-credential and traditional postgraduate programs? And then the other one is there an age limit for micro-credential programs?
Well, I answered the question first on the age limit. There's no age limit, so anyone can apply and become a student in any university. I think not only in MMU, but I think all universities are open for this. A program that where we just to give you an example. For example, the MBA programs has 8 modules. Let's say we have 8 modules. So what we have in to further into micro credits, so that instead of taking one module, let's say we have cyber law, okay, cyber law. So this is one module of our MBA. So instead of having only one cyber law module, we divided this 3 micro credits: cyberspace, intellectual property, and privacy and personal data protection. So instead of only taking one module, the students or 3 micro credits in this course to complete the module. And of course, if you take the traditional cyber law module, it will be a certain period. You have to complete this during a certain period. But in micro credential, you can take this just like that. You take one micro credits and then another one followed by another one. And if you complete this, you will get the equivalent to the module. That is the way how we offer our our program with micro credits in MMU.
It's very interesting because it means that you can break it up and do it like not like all at once. You're not committing long term. You can do short periods, finish a module, and then go back to work, and then come back later, maybe another few months. Is that how it works?
Yeah, it's just like taking. You take short courses, different short courses, and you can combine these short courses into a module of the MBA, for example. And if you complete all these modules of MBA, then you will get your MBA.
Oh, that's really interesting. So to the audience that are out there, this is something definitely to explore. I'm sure all the universities on the call and even the rest of the PDTIs are offering PDTIs, so micro credentials. So do go and check it out. Now I have quite a few questions from the audience. So I'm going to put it out there, and then you can volunteer to see who would like to answer this, right? So one of the questions here is, by going through the postgraduate and MBA programs, are there any university programs out there that is able to absorb the graduation students as permanent employees within your respective university? So I think the question is, if they do their postgraduate with you, do you have a program where you can hire them back as maybe, your staff? Anyone would like to take that?
Maybe I could start.
Sure, Prof.
Yeah.
Prof,
okay.
Who's that? Khong, is it? Yeah.
Yes,
Khong, go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, we have done that. I mean, in the past, I think most universities have done that for PhD students when they graduate. When there is a vacancy, we will hire them because they are accustomed to our culture and they are accustomed to the way, the pedagogical aspects to the respective schools. Especially now during the pandemic, it's easier to hire people that you know. Because interviews, you don't even see the person physically. You see the person on a virtual screen. So that happens. Now, apart from that, I think a lot of universities are also building their own incubator platform. I think there's a lot of scaling up of incubators where we tell the students that after graduation, or even during the year 3 or final year, they could venture into spin-off or startups, because universities do have quite a lot of grants that comes up with new ideas and also potential products or prototypes that they can use or that can be commercialized. And that kind of opportunity for these students, instead of not being able to join another company, they can start up their own company. And recently we have this scenario, this situation with our culinary school. Every year they have this final year project, and the culinary school students' final year project is to come up with new recipes. And often the recipes are put at one side when they graduate, and they just forget about it when they join their respective industry. So this year we created a platform we called Cultivate, where these recipes, the selected recipes, are converted or prototyped into real products. And there are a lot of activities in there, the initiatives, getting the right recipe, getting the right manufacturing, and even manufacturers, we have to source from different types, because we have to make sure that these mixture actually make sense. So they came up with ramen, which is really delicious. We tested it. And then lava cakes that is DIY. You just have to buy the mixture and then you put it in. Within 3 minutes, the lava cake will appear. And the student actually took this up and converted it into the business. And this business would eventually become an incubator for these culinary students. So universities are coming up with new ways in entrepreneurialism, because if you take a look at the regional mature universities within ASEAN, and we know who these people are within the region, really advanced stuff, that 80% of these kind of spin-off comes from the technology, come from the engineering and the healthcare. The business guys like us, we are the middlemen. We come up with the money, we come up with the structure, the format, and so on and so forth. So to answer the question of the student, look, if you want to be absorbed in the workforce, why don't you create a job on your own, and instead of letting people give you the fish or provide you the fish, you learn how to fish, start up your own company. And people
That's interesting.
Yep.
That's definitely interesting. So there's two parts. One is, of course, the more traditional, conventional way of thinking is, can you get a job in the university as a faculty? But I think the other one that you pointed out is to nurture the entrepreneurs, right? So that's definitely an interesting pathway. So we're getting a lot of questions, and I realize it's 5 minutes before the end of our time. But if you don't mind, sorry, sure.
Sorry,
Yes.
if I may add to Prof. Khong's point.
Sure.
I think from an APU perspective, what we always look for is talent. So there's talent scouting within the university. I think that's very, very important. So apart from the entrepreneurship, various schemes that's there, we will be, in fact, we just recently launched a postgraduate apprenticeship program. So let's say you are doing an MBA and you're a star. Let's say you come into the MBA program, you are high flyer, people know you, you're winning awards, and immediately there are multiple options and opportunities open for you to kind of remain with the family and grow there. So just like what Prof. Khong said, I think it boils down to the individual, what we make of ourselves, regardless of the institution that you belong to. If you are talented, I think people will be willing to sort of absorb you in the system. It's a question of how much value can you add to the organization. Yeah. So I think just like what Prof. Khong said, I think we're in constant search of talent as well. Sorry to interrupt you.
Thank you for that. Yeah, so there are obviously, many parts, and it's so great to see that the PDTIs are all thinking of different unconventional models of how you can not just address the new needs, but, also change what you're doing and support these people. Prof. Dato Mazliham, did you have your hand up?
Yes. Just would like to, if I may.
Sure.
That in the future, I always believe that the way how we manage a university will be different. You know, like the all this truck, the Uber is Uber and Grab is an example where those who are not having the the Uber, they don't have any cars, right? So in the future, I believe that the university will just be a platform and will invite all those experts to just come in and share their knowledge, and the students will have to choose from different options that they will have in the university.
Wow, yeah, that's really an interesting thought. And I guess, that's also where the JLUs are moving with the flexible curriculum. I'm guessing that's a foundation for where things are going to go. So, there's so many questions, especially on micro-credentials. And I would urge, before we end, I'd urge the audience to reach out to the panel members we have here, the PDTIs, if you have questions on micro-credentials. But to close off, I'd like to ask each of you to just give your final word of advice to people who are, still contemplating, do I do a postgraduate or not, whatever, to the job seekers that we have in the audience today. What would your final word of advice be from each one of you very quickly? Starting with Prof. Dato Mazliham.
Well, because it's very short, for those who are still contemplating whether they want to pursue or not, just like to our postgraduate virtual open day on the 23rd and 29th of August. So just visit our website, mmu.edu.my, to get more information. And I guess the answer will be there.
Excellent, Dato. So October 23rd and 29th, postgraduate open day for MMU.
Yes.
Prof. Khong, over to you. What's your final word of advice?
Well, if the finance and the time is there, I want to follow Prof. Murali's trend using 7-Eleven. I'll use the Nike one. Just do it. If you have the finance and you have the time, go for it. You won't lose out.
Wonderful. Thank you, Prof. Khong. Prof. Murali?
Yeah, I think I started off with the World Economic Forum report. Let me end on the same note. The challenge for us is to remain relevant in this world, yeah? So I think to remain relevant, we really have to upskill ourselves. And upskilling now is no longer just looking at it from a business perspective or a tech perspective. It has to be a combination of both. So just like what Dato Mazliham shared, ours is a online open day every day. Just log into APU. I'm sure you reach out to any of our sales team. We'll be happy to talk to you guys, yeah? But I think begin with the end in mind. With passion comes success. Yeah? So I think if you're passionate about upskilling yourself, you will make it happen. So just do it. Anytime is a good time.
Thank you, Prof. Murali. So we have Nike and 7-Eleven trending in our session today. Prof. Abrizah, final word from yourself?
Okay. Sumi, Prof. Murali said, okay, anytime is a good time. Okay, anytime is a good time, okay, to pursue a postgraduate. But I would advise, okay, the potential postgraduate candidates out there is to get that perfect time. Try to find when is that perfect time, because postgraduate education is not no joke, man. Okay, you need sacrifice. All right, you need dedication, you need support from your family, especially if you have caring responsibilities. You need support from your employer, especially if you're working, if you're studying part-time. All right, and also we do not want and also you must be able to explore various opportunities, not only in terms of the courses, but how the courses are being conducted, or programs, for example, and the requirement of the program, because some programs, they have working experience. So if that is a potential for you to actually, go for courses that consider working experience, it will have value to you. All right, because in the end, okay, I have this experience. We do not want to see. We want to see all potential postgraduate students to sail through their years, 3 years, or maybe 5 years for PhD. We have seen frustrations. Okay, so what I would like to advise to all out there is to not only to find that good time, but find that perfect time. get that decision, make that decision, and also okay, as part of our marketing for the PDTI, okay, explore various opportunities, not only in terms of education, but also establishing career, okay, in various PDTI institutes. All right.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof.
Wishes.
Definitely, having family support and, whatever support infrastructure, especially if you have, you're married, you have kids, I can attest to that as well. Thank you. And that's a very important consideration. It is a big commitment. And once you're committed, you have to go through all the way, right? Prof. Lau, final word from you.
I think write to any university that you would like to find out information. I think many of us, we're academics, we love having students who want to know how to, go into further studies, lifelong learning. My advice is more other than passion, other than timing, and of course, finance is also important. Find the purpose why you do it. I think without purpose, you do not know where you want to go. And lifelong learning today is really, you're spoiled with choices. You can go the traditional way, go the short courses way, and we even heard you can combine them, but don't stop learning. I think that is the only key to have the real job security. I learned that about 20 years ago. Someone very wise told me the only job security is when you keep upskilling yourself, right? And it's a matter of time you come back to the job market. I think this will remain true because whoever that stopped, they will actually get probably, kicked out from the whole competition. So therefore, just find your own time that suits you, learn, and main thing, do not focus on the paper at the end. It's the process that even gives more value than the domain knowledge that you learn. I think put all this together, you're good to go.
Thank you so much. Those are really words of wisdom that we've heard from all the profs, the professors who are on the call today. And, I think there's a lot of information that we've all gotten. And the most important is that there is a lot of choice out there. What's important is that we all have a purpose and we know why we want to do certain things. And then we have to commit and go all the way because the choices are all out there. And even finances, there's a lot of support that's out there. And I think if we put the intention, definitely it can happen. Right. So with that, I would like to thank all the panelists that we have today and like to thank the audience as well. If you have more questions, please reach out to our PDTIs. They're always happy to help. Reach out to MDEC. We're always happy to direct you as well to these PDTIs. And with that, I'd like to close the panel session today. Thank you. Have a nice day and stay safe. Back to you, Asro.
Thank you, Dr. Sumitra, and to our highly esteemed academic panel members for the interesting discussion and also the future of postgraduate studies in tech-based disciplines. Thank you, everyone, for your sharing and input. To our audience, do visit the hashtag MyDigitalWorkforceWeek at www.mydigitalworkforceweek.my, where we have 5,000 jobs available from 100 companies across industries. For more information, details are included in the comment section. And with that final session, we have concluded day 2 of Digital Skills Week at MTM 2021. We thank all our speakers for powering this week and their outlooks, ideas, insights, and pragmatizing the digital economy. We invite our participants to join us tomorrow at 9 a.m. Meanwhile, do check out the agenda for satellite events happening all around the MTM 2021 space. We also invite participants to make use of the virtual and networking lounges available. You're also welcome to reach out to the event admin via the chat box for any form of assistance. And with that, we end the session on a high note. Thank you. This is Hasrul, your host, signing out for the day. See you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Stay safe.